will call us to order. So we have some minutes to deal with first. Could I have a motion on the executive session minutes? This is March 18th. Haven't we passed those?
This would be, again, you need to keep them on the agenda to determine if they're, the purpose for going into session has expired, which in this case it has not.
It has not. So can I have a motion to, well, we don't have to do anything, do we?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. If that's the will of the group.
Just keep them on here. Again, the reminder of a few years ago when it was like 2 years of executive session minutes that.
Right. Okay. Does anyone want to move?
That we accept the minutes of the regular meeting.
Okay.
Second. April 8th.
Yeah, I was not at that meeting, so I abstain.
Okay. Do I have any changes, adjustments? So we need a second.
I seconded it.
Thank you.
And Amanda, we've been reminded that, and Jim, that people need to identify themselves when they make a motion, and then you need to do a roll call vote. So just a reminder.
Right. We just got a second, so we can. But the first issue, are there any adjustments to? That was a motion by Ed Hands and a second by Amanda Varela. No adjustments. Okay. So Lee, aye. John?
John, I again abstain. This is for the
okay,
April.
Abstain. Fine. Amanda?
Yep.
Varela, aye.
Greg?
Greg Strange, aye.
And Ed?
Aye.
All right, so we've passed those. We have executive session minutes. Can I have a motion on those?
So my understanding would be that this is to a motion and a second to accept the April 2nd, I'm sorry, the April 8th executive session minutes, right?
Yes.
To accept and not to release.
Yeah, you could make the one motion.
I make a
Varela
motion
moves to accept and not release.
Second.
Okay, so that's Amanda making the motion and Ed Hands seconding. So any adjustments to those minutes? Hearing none. Lee, aye. John?
Abstain.
Amanda?
Aye.
Greg?
Greg Strange, aye.
And Ed?
Aye.
So, thank you. So now we're at term expiration. Stephanie, you wanted to say something?
Well, this is just a reminder. Actually, Jim, your term is the one that's expiring. Everyone else's, because they're done by annual appointment by the board. So the only other ones that would be up in June would be the representative members. But yours, you'll need to submit an application for reappointment. So just a reminder.
Okay. All right, I will do that. Thank you. And next item is Oaks Ames Memorial Hall. I thought we allowed them to, go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, there's an update on this one. And this is for Tish, if she's, you know, listening in to take the notes. I wrote up a little piece in the tonight's meeting file. So the May 20th, 2019 annual town meeting approved an $8,000 CPA grant for installation of a radio fire alarm box and associated upgrades at Oaks Ames Memorial Hall, which was the last significant public building in Easton to convert to that system. The work was completed in October 2019, but came in substantially under the budget estimate, costing only $932. The fire department encouraged the hall to consider updating the building's fire alarm panel with the excess funds, even though it continues to work well. And what you're remembering, Jim, is at the November 12th, 2020 CPC meeting, the group approved the hall using the remaining grant amount to replace the fire alarm panel. And so the hall solicited several companies for the work, and they received a single quote for $16,490. So the hall's smoke detectors are old and need to be replaced. And the lowest quote the hall received for that work is $4,620 to replace all the smoke detectors, and an additional $1,500 to replace the emergency lighting, which also needs to be done. So the hall requests that the CPC approve that the Oaks Ames Memorial Hall may use the remaining $7,000 from the 2019 CPA grant to replace and upgrade the smoke detectors and emergency lighting.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
That's Ed Hands.
Barella, second.
Comments?
I have a comment. When you say the hall, is this Fred or is this is it a board of directors that they have?
Well, they have a board of directors. This request, I've been in communication with Fred, but yeah, this is work that needs to be
How
done.
did it shift from 4,000 to 16,000? It was the
It did
4,000.
not.
That was strictly the smoke detectors.
Right, the 4,000 smoke detectors and 1,500 is emergency lighting. The fire control panel was the $16,000. So the when they replaced the radio fire alarm box, they ended up not needing a big antenna, a big mast. So it ended up being only about $900. They had extra money. The fire department said, why don't you look at replacing your fire control panel? They solicited quotes. Only one company responded, and it came in north of $16,000, which of course is far more than the $7,000 they have left. However, they do need to replace their smoke detectors and their emergency lighting. So this is sort of an update to this group and a request that this group approve that they use their $7,000 for that work.
And Wayne, didn't you say that the fire panel itself is actually in good condition? I mean, it's not in poor condition. Correct. Or yes. A hazard or anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's working fine.
The determination was why, on their end, why spend that amount of money? Why even consider it if it's not necessary? If like it was just the fire department saying, gee, you didn't have to spend all this money on the new radio box.
Radio alarm, yeah, exactly.
So think about this, and they did.
How old are the smoke detectors now?
I do not know. Several decades at this point, I would imagine.
So I would assume they'd have to be replaced.
It's the same intent. It's fire protection.
Yeah.
We don't have to go to town meeting. This is up to us.
I see no reason not to.
I agree.
Okay, let's do it formally. Lee, aye. John?
John, aye.
Amanda, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Greg?
Strange, aye.
And Ed?
And aye.
Okay, we got that done.
Thank you.
So the only other item on the agenda is a possible executive session. And I guess the question that leads us potentially into that is whether or not there's new information.
And there is no new information.
And then that's irrelevant. So we've done our formal agenda. Are there any other issues or items that anyone wants to raise?
I was not at the last meeting, unfortunately. I read the minutes, and we were talking about the hall again. Can we discuss where how this all came about. I see Greg had mentioned, and I was in agreement that you're probably in the 4 to 5 million to go through the whole property, including adding parking space, which I would be in favor of in the back of the hall and tie the whole complex together. Is this just something that was in discussion, or it was brought up by the board, by the Oak Sames board? Was it brought up by the town?
Well, it was in, I believe the conversation was in response to their letter of interest for
Yeah,
the next grant round.
That's right.
John, I think actually I was the one who brought up, I started talking about the parking lot. It's something I've been talking to some of the leaders in town for. And I just think it makes sense for all the reasons I stated that night.
Yeah, agreed.
It was also part of a general discussion about allocating our funds. You know, we don't have unlimited funds. This is something that Greg has made a very convincing argument, roll it up in a big ball and get it done and out of the way. And so that was why it came up.
Okay. Any other questions or issues? If not, I suggest a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Strange.
So I think that's Greg made the motion. Amanda made the second.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Lee, aye. John?
John, aye.
Amanda?
Hi.
Greg?
Strange eye.
Ed?
Aye.
Very nice to see you this evening.
Ooh, you know, Dennis just,
Well, you snooze, you lose. Good night, folks.
I know, but I just want to acknowledge that we saw him and
Yes.
I'm hoping that he heard the meeting.
I do have a complaint.
Uh-oh.
We have to shorten the meeting.
I'll try to be faster. Yeah.
When is
And
the next
we'll-
meeting?
The next meeting would be on the 10th of June.
10th.
Yes.
And is
Dennis,
that-
sorry, I was looking over there for quite a while and then,
I haven't been on that long, so
oh, good, thank you.
I will vote to adjourn though.
Oh, good.
Hello, goodbye.